What if the life you're living right now is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts you've been repeating, day after day? Before anything changes in your life, something changes in your mind. That is the reality most people overlook. They look at their results, their situation, their circumstances, and they try to fix everything from the outside. They want a better life, better opportunities, better outcomes. But they ignore the one place where all of it begins: their thoughts. Because your thoughts are not just random ideas passing through your mind. They are the blueprint of your life. Every decision you make, every action you take, every direction you choose is influenced by what you are thinking. And if your thinking is not aligned with growth, your life will never fully move in that direction. Think about it. Before you take any action, there is always a thought. Before you speak, there is a thought. Before you decide, there is a thought. That means your entire life is being built step by step from what is happening inside your mind. And if that foundation is weak, everything built on top of it will also feel unstable. Most people don't realize how much their thinking is shaping their reality because it happens quietly. It happens in small, repeated patterns. The way you talk to yourself when things go wrong. The way you interpret challenges. The way you react to uncertainty. These are not just moments. They are patterns. And those patterns create your direction. If your thoughts are filled with doubt, your actions will become hesitant. If your thoughts are negative, your energy will drop. If your thoughts are scattered, your focus will weaken. And slowly, without you even noticing, your life begins to reflect those internal patterns. But here is the powerful part. If your thoughts are shaping your life, that means you have the ability to change your life by changing your thinking. Not in an unrealistic way, but in a very practical way. Because once your thinking shifts, your decisions shift. Once your decisions shift, your actions change. And once your actions change, your results begin to follow. This is why mastering your thoughts is not optional. It is essential. But to master your thoughts, you first have to understand them. You have to recognize that not every thought you have is true. Not every thought deserves your attention. Your mind produces thoughts based on past experiences, fears, habits, and patterns. And if you are not aware of that, you will start believing everything your mind tells you. A weak mind believes every thought. A strong mind questions it. Think about how often your mind goes into negative thinking without any real reason. You imagine problems that haven't happened. You doubt yourself before even trying. You assume the worst outcome before giving yourself a chance. And all of this lowers your energy, weakens your confidence, and holds you back from action. But the moment you start observing your thoughts instead of blindly following them, something changes. You create distance between yourself and your thinking. You realize that a thought is just a thought. It is not a command. It is not reality. It is simply a mental event. And in that realization, you gain control. Now, instead of reacting to every thought, you can choose which ones to focus on. You can redirect your thinking towards something more productive. You can replace doubt with effort, fear with preparation, negativity with awareness. And over time, this becomes a pattern. Your mind starts learning a new way of operating. It stops defaulting to negativity. It starts aligning with clarity. It begins supporting your growth instead of limiting it. And this shift begins to reflect in every area of your life. Because when your thoughts become strong, your actions become strong. You stop hesitating. You stop overthinking every step. You start moving with more confidence, more clarity, more purpose. And here is something very important. Mastering your thoughts does not mean you will never have negative thoughts again. It means you will not let them control you. You will see them, understand them, and choose not to act based on them. Because control does not come from removing thoughts. It comes from choosing your response to them. And once you reach that level, your life begins to change in a very real way. You stop feeling controlled by circumstances. You stop reacting to every situation emotionally. You start thinking before acting. You start making decisions that align with your long-term growth. And slowly your external life begins to reflect that internal control. Opportunities start to look different. Challenges feel more manageable. Your direction becomes clearer, not because the world changed, but because your thinking changed. That is the power of mastering your thoughts. Because in the end, your life is not built by what happens to you. It is built by how you think about what happens to you. And once you take control of that, you take control of everything that follows. Before you can control your thoughts, before you can guide them, before you can transform them into something powerful, there is one step that cannot be skipped: awareness. And this is where most people fail, not because they lack intelligence or discipline, but because they are simply unaware of what is happening inside their own mind. Your thoughts are running all the time. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, your mind is constantly active. It is thinking, reacting, analyzing, imagining. But the problem is, most of this happens automatically. You are not consciously choosing every thought. You are simply experiencing them as they come. And because of that, you start believing them without questioning them. This is why awareness is the foundation of mental mastery. Because you cannot control what you do not notice. If you are not aware of your thinking patterns, you will keep repeating them. If you are not aware of your reactions, you will keep reacting the same way. And without awareness, there is no change, only repetition. Think about how often your mind drifts without you realizing it. You start your day with a plan, but suddenly you are thinking about something unrelated. A small situation triggers a chain of thoughts, and before you know it, your energy has shifted. Maybe you feel stressed, maybe distracted, maybe negative, and you don't even know exactly when it started. That is the power of unconscious thinking. It controls your internal state without your permission, but the moment awareness enters, that control begins to break. Awareness is not about forcing your thoughts to stop. It is about observing them. It is about noticing what is happening inside your mind without immediately reacting to it. It is about stepping back and seeing your thoughts as they are instead of being carried away by them. And this changes everything. Because when you observe your thoughts, you create space. You create a gap between the thought and your reaction. And in that gap, you gain the ability to choose. You are no longer acting automatically. You are acting consciously. That is where mastery begins. At first, this may feel difficult. Your mind is used to running on autopilot. It is used to reacting instantly. But with practice, you start becoming more aware. You begin to notice patterns you never saw before. You notice how your mind goes negative in certain situations. You notice how certain thoughts repeat themselves again and again. You notice how quickly your focus shifts when something distracts you. And this awareness gives you insight, because now you are not just thinking. You are understanding your thinking. And once you understand your patterns, you can start changing them. For example, when a negative thought appears, instead of believing it instantly, you pause. You ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? That simple question creates clarity. It separates you from the thought. It gives you control. Or when you feel distracted, instead of continuing unconsciously, you become aware of it. You bring your focus back. Not perfectly, but intentionally. And every time you do that, you strengthen your ability to stay present. Because awareness is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And as it becomes stronger, your mind becomes clearer. You are no longer lost in random thoughts. You are no longer reacting to everything. You start thinking with intention. This is what most people are missing. They try to change their life without first becoming aware of their internal state. They try to fix their actions without understanding their thoughts. And that is why their progress does not last. Because real change always begins with awareness. It is the first step to discipline. It is the first step to focus. It is the first step to emotional control. Without awareness, all of these things remain temporary, but with awareness, they become stable. And over time, something powerful happens. You become more present. You start living with intention instead of habit. You start choosing your responses instead of reacting automatically. You become more in control of your mind. And when you are in control of your mind, you are in control of your life. Because your thoughts no longer control you, you control them. And that is the beginning of real power. Because in the end, the moment you become aware of your thoughts is the moment you begin to master them. If awareness is the starting point, then focus is the force that gives your mind direction. Because it is not enough to simply notice your thoughts. You must also learn where to place your attention. And this is where most people lose control of their mind, not because they lack ability, but because they lack direction in their focus. Your attention is one of the most valuable resources you have. Wherever you place it, your energy follows. And wherever your energy goes, your life begins to move in that direction. That means if your focus is scattered, your results will be scattered. If your focus is weak, your progress will be weak. But if your focus is strong and intentional, everything begins to align. Think about how your mind behaves during the day. You start doing something important, and within minutes, your attention shifts. A notification, a random thought, a small distraction, and suddenly your focus is gone. You come back, then it drifts again. This constant switching may seem normal, but it is slowly weakening your mind, because every time your focus breaks, your mental energy drops. You lose momentum, you lose clarity, and over time your ability to concentrate becomes weaker. Not because you cannot focus, but because your mind has been trained to stay distracted. This is why distraction is not harmless. It is training your mind to be weak. A distracted mind cannot build anything meaningful. It cannot stay consistent. It cannot go deep. It stays on the surface, jumping from one thing to another, never fully committing to anything. And this creates a cycle of unfinished work, low energy, and frustration. But the moment you start controlling your focus, everything begins to change. Because focus is not something you wait for, it is something you practice. It is a decision. It is the ability to bring your attention back again and again, even when your mind tries to drift. At first it feels difficult. Your mind resists. It wants stimulation, it wants variety, it wants distraction. But every time you bring your focus back, you are training it, you are strengthening it. You are telling your mind, this is where we stay. And slowly, that becomes easier. Your attention starts becoming more stable. You stay longer on tasks. You think more clearly, you act with more precision. And this creates a different kind of energy, a focused energy, not scattered, not restless, but directed and powerful. Because when your focus is strong, your thinking becomes deeper. You are no longer reacting to every small thing. You are analyzing, you are understanding, you are creating. And that depth is what leads to real progress. This is why high-level performance in any area requires focus. Not just effort, not just time, but focused effort over time. Because without focus, effort is wasted. It is like pouring energy in different directions without any clear outcome. But with focus, even small efforts become powerful. Because they are directed, they are consistent, they build on each other. And here is something very important. Controlling your focus also means controlling what you ignore. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every thought, not every distraction, not every piece of information is important. But if you give attention to everything, your mind becomes overloaded. It becomes noisy. And that noise weakens your clarity. So mastering focus is not just about choosing what to pay attention to. It is also about choosing what to let go. You learn to ignore distractions. You learn to let unnecessary thoughts pass. You learn to stay with what matters, even when your mind wants to escape. And that ability creates mental strength. Because now your mind is not controlling you. You are controlling it. And over time, this becomes your natural state. You don't get distracted as easily. You don't lose your direction. You stay aligned with your purpose. And this alignment creates momentum. Momentum is what makes progress feel easier. It reduces resistance. It keeps you moving forward. But momentum only exists when focus is consistent. Without focus, you keep starting and stopping. But with focus, you keep building, and that is what changes your life. Because when your focus becomes strong, your decisions become clear. When your decisions become clear, your actions become effective. And when your actions become effective, your results improve. It all connects. So if you want to master your thoughts, you must master your attention. Because in the end, your mind does not become powerful by thinking more. It becomes powerful by focusing on what truly matters and staying there. There comes a point where awareness and focus alone are not enough. You can be aware of your thoughts. You can even direct your attention for a while. But if you do not discipline your thinking, your mind will slowly fall back into its old patterns. Because the truth is, the mind by default is not designed for growth. It is designed for comfort, for safety, for familiarity. And if you don't train it, it will naturally drift toward negativity, fear, doubt, and distraction. That is why discipline is not just something you apply to your actions. It is something you must apply to your thoughts. Because if you leave your mind undisciplined, it will start controlling you. It will tell you stories that are not true. It will exaggerate problems. It will create fear where there is no real danger. It will make you doubt your ability before you even begin. And if you follow those thoughts blindly, they will shape your decisions, your actions, and ultimately your life. This is where most people lose control. Not because life is too difficult, but because their thinking is not disciplined. They allow every thought to stay. They allow every doubt to grow. They allow every fear to take space in their mind. And slowly, those thoughts become stronger than their intentions. But a strong mind does something different. It does not accept every thought. It questions it. It challenges it. It decides whether it deserves to stay or not. And that is what mental discipline looks like. It means you do not entertain thoughts that weaken you. When your mind says, "You can't do this," you don't just accept it. You ask, "Why not?" When your mind says, "This is too hard," you don't step back. You step forward and prove it wrong. When your mind tries to pull you into fear or doubt, you bring it back to logic, to action, to clarity. And this is not something that happens once. It is a daily practice. Because your mind will test you again and again. It will bring old patterns back. It will try to take the easy path. And every time that happens, you have a choice. You either follow it or you train it. And every time you train it, you become stronger. Because discipline is not about suppressing your thoughts. It is about guiding them. It is about creating a system inside your mind where only useful, productive, and growth-oriented thinking is allowed to stay. And over time, this changes your internal environment. Your mind becomes quieter, not empty, but clear. You are no longer overwhelmed by random thoughts. You are not constantly pulled in different directions. You think with purpose. You think with intention, and that clarity gives you power. Because when your thinking is disciplined, your actions become consistent. You don't hesitate as much. You don't overthink every step. You move with direction. You act even when it is uncomfortable. And that action builds momentum. This is why disciplined thinking is directly connected to results. Because if your thoughts are weak, your actions will be weak. But if your thoughts are strong, your actions will follow that strength. And those actions create your life. Now here is something important. Discipline does not mean you will never have negative thoughts. It means you will not let them take control. They may appear, but they will not stay. You will recognize them, challenge them, and replace them with something stronger. Because control is not about eliminating thoughts. It is about choosing which ones to follow. And this choice becomes easier with practice. At first, it feels like effort. You have to consciously redirect your thinking. You have to remind yourself again and again. But over time, it becomes natural. Your mind starts following a new pattern. It starts thinking in solutions instead of problems. It starts focusing on action instead of fear. It starts supporting your growth instead of limiting it. And once that shift happens, everything changes. You feel more stable, more confident, more in control. Not because life became easier, but because your thinking became stronger. And this strength reflects in everything you do. the way you speak, the way you decide, the way you handle pressure. All of it improves because it is coming from a disciplined mind, and a disciplined mind does not break easily. It does not get lost in negativity. It stays focused, it stays aligned, and it keeps moving forward. Because in the end, if you don't discipline your thoughts, they will control your life. But the moment you take control of them, you take control of everything that follows. There is something most people underestimate, and that is the power of repetition. Not the power of one big decision, not the power of one moment of motivation, but the power of what you think again and again, every single day. Because in the end, it is not one thought that shapes your life. It is the thoughts you repeat until they become part of you. This is where identity is formed. You don't become strong because you once thought positively. You don't become focused because you had one clear moment. You don't become disciplined because you made one powerful decision. You become all of these things because you repeat certain patterns of thinking consistently over time. And this is the truth. Your identity is nothing more than a collection of repeated thoughts and actions. If your mind is constantly repeating doubt, hesitation, and negativity, that becomes your identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who struggles, someone who overthinks, someone who cannot stay consistent. And once that identity is formed, your actions begin to match it. But if your mind is trained to repeat clarity, discipline, focus, and control, something different happens. You start seeing yourself as someone who can handle pressure, someone who follows through, someone who stays aligned. And that identity begins to guide your behavior. Because identity is powerful, it influences your decisions without you even realizing it. You act in ways that match how you see yourself. You choose based on what feels consistent with your identity. And that is why consistent thinking is so important, because it is building that identity every day. Think about it like this. Every thought you repeat is like a vote for the person you are becoming. When you repeat, "I can't do this," you are voting for weakness. When you repeat, "I'll do it later," you are voting for delay. When you repeat, "I'm not ready," you are voting for hesitation. But when you repeat, "I will figure it out," you are voting for growth. When you repeat, "I'll start now," you are voting for action. When you repeat, "I can handle this," you are voting for strength. And over time, these votes add up. They create a pattern, and that pattern becomes your identity. This is why consistency in thinking matters more than intensity. You don't need to have perfect thoughts all the time. You don't need to feel powerful every single moment. But you do need to return to the right thinking patterns again and again. Because it is the return that builds strength. You will have moments of doubt. You will have days where your mind feels weak, where your thoughts are not aligned. That is normal. But what matters is not that those moments happen. What matters is how quickly you bring your mind back. Do you stay in that negative loop, or do you interrupt it? Do you continue that pattern, or do you redirect it? Every time you bring your thinking back to clarity, you are strengthening your identity, and this is a process. It does not happen overnight. It is built slowly, through repetition, through daily effort, through small, consistent decisions, and over time something powerful happens. Your thinking becomes automatic. You don't have to force yourself as much. You don't have to remind yourself constantly. Your mind naturally starts aligning with strength. You start thinking differently without even trying. You start reacting differently without effort. You start making decisions that match your growth. Because now it is not just something you do, it is who you are. And once it becomes who you are, everything becomes easier. Not easy in the sense that life has no challenges, but easy in the sense that your mind is stable. You don't break under pressure. You don't get lost in every small distraction. You stay grounded. And that stability creates a strong life, because in the end, your life is not shaped by what you do once in a while. It is shaped by what you repeat every single day until it becomes your identity. So master your thoughts daily and deliberately, because in the end, the mind you build is the life you live.